How is your fundraiser going this year? If it's anything less than amazing, it's time to talk to Shawn Murphy at FanPledge. No product to sell, nothing to deliver, and guaranteed results. Raise at least 10% more than your current donation based fundraiser, or it's free. Fun, fast, proven. Call Shawn at 903-948-7348. FanPledge. The champions are already on board. Are you? Band Yap is proudly sponsored by Troubadour Consultants. When it comes to planning group travel for your fine arts program, look no further than Troubadour Consultants. Whether you're organizing a major out of state trip or need top notch accommodations for the state marching contest, John Mize and his team are ready to create a custom travel experience that meets your band's unique needs. As a family owned, band director run company, Troubadour understands exactly what it takes to make your trip stress free and seamless. Plus, when you book a trip with Troubadour, they will sponsor a $500 college scholarship for a student in your band. Directors who book will also receive a free Mollard baton as a special thank you. Visit troubadourconsultants.com today to start planning your next trip with the experts who truly get it.
How tall are you, Simon? Don't you dare say 6'7".
No. I'll tell you what I tell the kids. I'm about 196 and a half centimeters.
Band really is a community, and those people are out there that want to help. Sometimes it's just asking. Or, you can probably just call up any realtor, and by like the third try, you'll find an old band director.
Hello and welcome back to Band Yap. My name is Alexa Sanchez.
And I'm Jose Sanchez.
And today we're going to be playing some Simon Says because we have Simon Bosch.
Ooh.
Hi, Simon.
First time I've heard that one. Hi, Alexa.
Really? I'm kind of surprised.
Hey, look, if people have to ask me all the time, do you know that Amazon Echo thing, the Alexa? Yeah.
Should have named one of your kids Siri.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
First and foremost, congratulations, Simon. Just welcomed his second son into the world, and so it's been a crazy time in the Bosch household.
It has been. It's been good though. Asher is 6 days old today. Everything went really smoothly with labor and delivery. Stephanie had her first contraction about 12:30 on Friday morning last week. And it was perfect because I'd picked up Silas the day before with 101-degree fever. So I'd already told everybody I wasn't going to be there on Friday. And by 6:15, baby was there. So we had kind of a mad dash to the hospital, and everything went super smooth, and they're both doing great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. Of course, the other child, Silas is sick. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
It's just like,
And then it's 3:00 in the morning, and we don't have any family around. So we have some really good friends, kind of adopted aunt and uncle that told us, it's like, whenever you need it, just call us, whatever. We'll be there and we'll come take care of Silas. And, so we're calling them. It's 2:30 in the morning on Friday. They're not answering. And then we finally got a hold. We're like, yeah, we heard something buzzing and didn't know what was going on. Long story short, they ended up meeting us at the hospital at 3:30 in the morning, something like that. And Stephanie was already checked in and stuff. And then I brought Silas back out and they took him home. And it was good to have them in our corner, like I said, not having family around, because I wouldn't want to have to deal with that with a 3-year-old in there too.
Yeah.
Well, that says a lot again, like the fact that it really does take a village, not only for what we do as band directors, but what we do as parents that are band directors, because there's some of our community who just they don't have children, or things are just don't line up that way. They're still single, and then there's this generation, and I think you and I and us, we're in this generation where we're having kids and we're having to navigate this uncharted territory, and people have been doing it for a long period of time, but in this day and age, it's just a little bit different in the demands and some of the things that are expected at a job, and still trying to maintain a family in that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you said that, you don't have a lot of family around, which gives us a great opportunity to go, well, Simon, can you tell us about yourself, your background, education, teaching experience?
Yeah. So I moved several times when I was growing up. I grew up primarily in Michigan, Minnesota, and then we moved to Colorado when I was a freshman in high school. So the majority of my family is still in Colorado. And then I have a brother who lives in Illinois. Um, and then my Stephanie's family, my wife's family is down in San Antonio. So they're up pretty often. Her mom is with us right now, actually, for a couple weeks. Just being those extra hands and stuff around the house with the little one. But um, yeah, for me, I was thinking about this earlier today, Jose. One thing that a lot of people may not know about me is that I was homeschooled all the way through high school. And I remember telling you that when we met in undergrad, and you looking at me like, "What? But you're so normal."
That is a very true statement. Like you're just like, huh, yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. And, everyone's a little awkward in some type of way, but sometimes I hate to say this, but the homeschool kids just are just on a little bit on a different wavelength, just because they don't have the same social opportunities that public school kids always get.
Well, yeah, and for me, I mean, I was blessed in that I was able to get all of that social upbringing through band. Um, when I lived in a small town in Minnesota from about age 7 to 14, and band in that it was a town of about 4,000 people. Band started in 5th grade, and but they let homeschoolers participate. So I actually started the 5th grade band when I was in 4th grade because I wanted to, and they were just like, okay. Um, and I was able to go up just for band. So I did concert band, I did jazz band, I did marching band. I did 7 years of high school marching band because in small town Minnesota, they march the junior high kids too when everybody's in one building. You know how it
Aw.
is.
Think about what you do right now, and then think about taking that outside and trying to do marching band with that.
No. Well, for a long time, I mean, I teaching middle school band was nowhere on my radar because I'd only experienced my upbringing with it. I was like, middle school bands suck. There's no way I could listen to that all the time. And then getting exposed to Texas band and be like, well, middle school band really doesn't have to suck. You can make the kids sound really good and it can be a lot of fun to do. But like my beginner band experience was after school, 2 days a week, every instrument in the room with one band director. So you can imagine what the more advanced ensembles sounded like.
Gr- Fantastic, fantastic. Well, and that's kind of the system that I grew up in. Actually, it was everyone was in the room. I think we had two band periods when I was in 6th grade, and mind you, this is a 4A school district. Two band periods, a day for 6th grade, but everybody was in the same room. Like one band director,
Was it even like woodwinds and brass, or was it just like
no, it
you
was
were in
everyone.
band period A and you were in band period B?
Yes, that's the way it worked. So there was like flutes in the front row, so like that, and the percussionists were off to the right hand side, and the tubas were on the left hand side, because our facility was like this old white building that was like 4 stories high. It was really really weird, and
I'm
so
trying to imagine what you're
the
describing.
band room was like across from the
Was
office.
it on the 4th floor?
It was on the 3rd floor.
That's different.
Yeah, it was really different. So Simon, you went through high school band and all kind of stuff. What made you want to join band?
I grew up in a pretty musical family. My mom had piano and voice in her background and studied some of that. I think even voice in college a little bit. My family sings a lot. We moved around a lot when I was growing up because my dad's a pastor, and so he was in seminary for one or two of those moves, and then in a couple different churches, and so like my family, every meal was a family meal together at the table, and it's like we sang pretty much at the end of every meal. Music was always just I was around it constantly. um Ironically enough, I wanted to play the trumpet for two reasons. Number one, my oldest cousin Calvin played the trumpet, and he was just so cool. And then number two, I thought it was the loudest instrument. I was like, I want to play trumpet because it's loud. If you think about a fourth grader, that's a pretty typical reason to, pick something. And
Little
in,
did you
in a
know.
small town program like that, there wasn't like a band fair, come try it. My parents bought a trumpet from a kid in church that played Kenny Honkin, And I showed up at band and was like, I'm gonna play trumpet, and they said okay.
Yeah, very different from what we do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go through high school, and like you have some fantastic, from what I remember, and this also goes back, that I have always been a certain way. I mean, like Simon already touched on it. He's like, well, like you're I said, but you're normal. That seems like something
Yeah, it
I
does
would
seem
say.
like something you
Unfortunately,
would say.
I am much more. I wouldn't say that now.
You're more articulate. Is that what you're going to say?
Yes, I'm going to say
Tactful.
that. Back then, the tact was non-existent.
It's really developed over the
Yeah,
past
yeah, especially since
2-3 years.
I mean, but I mean, this like becoming a dad, there are just certain things that automatically change. Like, I don't know for you, but for me, like overnight, things changed just because like the way I thought about things, like the moment that we found out we were pregnant, like the idea of like taking care of somebody else that wasn't like me, like that way, and making sure that somebody could eat, breathe, and like be clean. And that's just a different level of commitment and love that you just really kind of don't understand until you have like kids.
Yeah, and I think Stephanie and I waited about 9 years before having kids. So I definitely felt some of that just getting married, and just be like, I'm not the only one I'm responsible for anymore. So that was a big, mindset shift and stuff. And looking back, now we were on the older side, I guess, mid 30s when we had our first kid. But I'm glad that we waited as long as we did because I just think, we just needed to be ready. It's not one of those things, you should do if you're not positive that you're ready to do it. Because like you said, it changes everything from your worldview to your daily routine. And so much of the day to day is just not about you anymore. It just can't be, you know. We
Yeah.
we might get 30 minutes of us time, after kids are in bed now, and then it's well, all right, time for us to go to bed. But that's what's left in the day.
Well, so you and your wife are both band directors. So let me go ahead and ask you this question. How do you, as both like working band directors who are people who pour themselves into your profession, how do you keep your relationship strong throughout like the year?
It's tough. I think one of the things that I've always been pretty good at is just compartmentalizing. And so I've had to very strictly compartmentalize work and home, especially 4 years ago now when I took over as the head director and the responsibilities, doubled with the day to day administrative stuff and all of that. So um, at work, I'm very much just go, 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 go. It's like I have to get this done now because it has to get done, and I'm not doing it, taking it home. And I'm kind of, on the clock a little bit because Silas goes to our district childcare, which is across the parking lot from my school. But they're open 6:45 to 5:30. So, and then I'm typically in front of kids 7:15 to 5:15. So that gives me 30 minutes at the front and 15 minutes at the end, and then my conference period. And so I've become really good at just getting done, prioritizing, compartmentalizing, and getting stuff done during the day so that when I go home, I don't have to think about work and it can just be prioritizing home. There's some days that that's easier than others, and I'll typically bring my computer home on the weekend. I try not to do stuff, but then I'm like, if something pops up, I might need to do 30 minutes on my computer to get this done. But um, I think because I've seen really successful directors that don't have a balance between their professional and their work life. And I've wanted to, since I started teaching, I've wanted to be good at this. I want to be good. Not in it to, I'm not going to give half effort, in anything that I do if I'm committed to doing it. And I expect the same from my kids. I want them to be successful. Um, but I can't sacrifice what I have at home in order to have that success at work. So it's a balancing act. It's a tightrope.
Yeah, and that's why like so many good band directors leave the profession because like it will, I mean, I've said this plenty of times, is that it's going to take its pound of flesh one way or another. It just depends on what type of pound of flesh you're going to allow it to take. We have the marching band side of things, and that is a bugaboo. And I love it, but I I would be lying if I didn't say that there are some days that I go like, golly, this is taking a lot from me.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I've never considered teaching high school. I've never wanted that schedule, even before kids. You know, I'm one that recharges at home. You know, like just being around people and stuff that takes a lot out of me. So it's like just quiet and chill. And so I got to add that to recharge my batteries. And I was like, So I take what I'm doing already, and then add Friday nights, and then add all day Saturdays, and then add, you know, it's like just hasn't appealed to me.
Yeah. Well, so you said you moved around quite a bit. So what brought you to Texas and Baylor University?
So Wiff Rudd is what brought me to Baylor University. He's the trumpet professor at Baylor, for those of you who don't know. When I was in high school in Colorado, I studied privately with Bill Fund, who was the professor of trumpet at the University of Northern Colorado for about 30 years. Wiff Rudd did his master's degree with Bill Fund at the University of Northern Colorado back in the day. So when I started looking for schools and places to audition, Mr. Fun was like, "This is someone you need to meet. You need to, at least go check this out." And I actually had the opportunity to meet with for the first time at an International Trumpet Guild conference in Thailand. I think the summer before my junior year of high school. Heard rhythm and brass play, got to meet him, and had a great, first experience. Anyone that's met Mr. Rudd knows how that is. He's just genuinely one of the nicest people. So I auditioned for 4 or 5 schools, I think, when I was looking at undergrad, and nothing felt like Baylor. I had similar scholarship offers from like DePaul in Chicago, and I'd looked at UCLA and a couple others. But like when I came down to audition at Baylor, it didn't work out for me to come in on audition weekend. So I came on a Thursday night, stayed at the Reds' house, came and just shadowed all day long on Friday, played my audition. I did a jazz audition for Mr. Parker. Stayed at their house Friday night, went to like a trumpet studio party hang, and then the Ruds actually had to leave like 4 o'clock Saturday morning to go somewhere, and they just left me in their house. Like they told me they were leaving, but it's like just this kid from Colorado. They're just like, okay, well, yeah. Okay. Anyway, one of the it was Harbazook. You knew him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
David.
picked me up and took me to the airport on Saturday morning. It was just a different level of, uh, just feeling welcomed right from the get go. Was like that's a person I want to learn trumpet from, but just learn life from.
Well, like Whiff Rudd is like you said, he's one of the most genuine people. Like you talk about like what makes Baylor like really special. I think Whiff Rudd is like one of the cornerstones to
Yeah.
that
Oh,
feeling.
yeah.
I'm gonna say this. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Steve Martin adjacent.
Yeah. I see it.
I think just his delivery and some of that, and the way he interacts.
Yeah.
So but he's funny. He's great. I mean, they do a special thing with him and his wife every single like year, every couple of
The
years.
the swing.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they met at Baylor on they had the swing picture, and that's like such a sweet thing. Like who has that? Who
cute.
has that? So it's really nice. And then y'all always had like some fun in the trumpet studio, because wouldn't y'all just like during around his birthday, like overload his office with like Cheez-Its?
Different every year. I think it was just filled the whole office with balloons one year, tinfoil one year, post-it notes one year. They covered the entire surface, like every possible flat surface area, with cups of water one year. There was a lot.
That's funny. Cups of water.
That was a fun studio. Like I always remember like that was always a great studio, fun studio, and just like a lot of personality that happened in that area. The tuba studio was its own animal, just because like our personalities were just a little bit different, but the trumpet studio was always really fun.
I thought you were gonna say because of the smell.
Or yeah, that too. I tell you what, there was a few
I
of
do
us
remember
that
that.
were, ooh, yeah, well, there's a few of us that like, especially right before a marching band like rehearsal, because we used to go to VTEX before a marching band.
That's a special kind of.
And it would be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We just ate a gut pack and we're going to marching band.
Hey, live your life.
This is a mistake.
Live your life. Oh.
Well, and Simon, from what I remember, you are also a very talented jazz trumpet player. What took you down that path?
So big band jazz was always my favorite genre to listen to and to play and perform. Um, I'd trying to remember my first exposure to it. It was probably still when I was in middle school in Minnesota, and I played all the way through high school and undergrad, and even through my grad degree. It was just what I enjoyed the most. I would not ever classify myself as a jazzer. I just I the truth of it, I never really put the time in the shed to, get jazz chops. I can hang on a course or two, and I worked on improv a little bit, but I didn't live in that world the way you really need to be able to speak that language. But my niche was always just lead trumpet. So it's a lot more. I'm not having to make up the you know, make up a solo over the changes or anything. I'm just having to interpret stylistically what's on the page for the rest of the ensemble to kind of follow. And I really enjoyed that. So
I always remember going to the jazz like concerts and like I always thought you did a really fantastic job. I just thought you were a fantastic trumpet player to start. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. There is something special about your playing that a lot of people don't know about unless they've seen you play.
talking about my neck.
Yes. Yes. So you have what is it called?
Oh, the only real thing I found on it, it's really just called neck puffing. Um, there's a huge trumpet pedagogy book where I found the most in-depth kind of explanation of it anywhere. It's not uncommon. And from what I found, as long as there's not pain associated with it, it's not anything to be concerned about. It's just when I get a lot of back pressure when I'm playing high or loud and my neck puffs up.
I remember the first time I saw that and I was like, what just happened? And then you like, I'm pretty sure you got that question all the time. Like, do your kids react differently whenever they see you play?
See, at this point, well, post COVID and post kids, I'm really only playing my trumpet and my beginner classes most of the time. And there's not a lot of double C's in beginner trumpet class.
What?
So
Jose, I thought you were teaching that.
I know, and I'm on that right now.
Right now.
Well, we got last week with triple tonguing went a little slower than I wanted. So we're a week behind.
Yeah, just a little bit weak. Well, Simon, so you said that you never really wanted to do the high school thing. So for you, what makes like middle school like so like special and important to like the educational process?
Well, what I love about it now is just getting to start them because I've had, private students over the years. I've had inherited students, move in students, kids that come in with a lot of bad habits for whatever reason. Um, Oftentimes it's not their fault. It may be the situation that they were in, like everybody in one room with one band director, type thing. But I love just getting to set kids up correctly to the best of my knowledge and then just see where they can go rather than just trying to fix.
So how long have you been at your school?
So this is year 12 at my school. I spent 8 years as the assistant director with Joey Qualls, and then Aledo ISD opened a second middle school in fall of 2022. And Joey went over and opened the second middle school, and then I took over at the same school I've been at. So I've been at one school my entire public school teaching career.
So
that's crazy. That's cool.
And I've said this several times. It's hard for people to commit to that idea of staying somewhere for a long period of time. And, I feel that you are probably seeing some of the benefits of that and like investing in that program and making that a home and, just building it from where it was to where it is now. Um, So what are some of the things that's made you want to stay there for the time that you have been there?
Well, to be honest, I got so stinking lucky landing where I did for my first gig. Um, Geographically, we were in the area because Stephanie had gotten a job down in Granbury the year prior. There weren't any other positions in the area, so I taught lessons for a year. And then the position at Alito Middle School opened up. Um, they had placed recently, they had placed fourth in honor band, I think in 2009, second in 2011. They'd gone to Midwest in 2013. And then it's like summer of 2014 that I'm coming on board. So it was a really high achieving program. And I was super blessed, not, to be honest, not knowing at all what I was doing about teaching band. Felt like I was a strong brass teacher pedagogically, but I didn't know anything about standing in front of a band and making them sound good. Um, but I was in a situation where I was able to learn and learn really fast because, like I said, teaching with Joey Qualls, um, he had been the assistant there and he took over at the same time I came on. Um, and I was just able to just watch and copy and imitate what I didn't know yet until it kind of became my own. Then I was able to like understand the tools that I was using and how to use them and, kind of shape them a little bit more my own way. It's one of the pieces of advice I always give student teachers. It's I feel by the time you graduate college, most teachers or new teachers are going to have a pretty extensive toolbox, but they're not really going to know how to use most of them. And that's the trick. It's not like, oh, you won honor band, like you do long tones 1A, that must be the secret. It's like, no, it's not what you do, it's what you do with it. Um, if you can have a screwdriver, but try to use it to change a light bulb, and it's not going to go very well for you, So, um, it was really good just to be in it, like just right off the bat in a good situation. And kind of the same philosophy I try to espouse with my kids. Like I didn't learn bad teaching habits right off the bat because I came in and I just had to learn what was already working, um, and not screw anything up, and was able to do that pretty well. So that's kind of been, there have been little things we've changed over the years, and we're always looking at ways to get better and seeking feedback from our mentors and stuff. But the overall recipe hasn't really changed since I started 12 years ago. There's just been little tweaks along the way.
Well, and that says a lot about you recognizing like, hey, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can make small adjustments here to make it fit where the direction of the program's going or what we need to do to enhance in this area, but not you coming in as the head director going like, we're going to change everything because I'm the new head director and we're going to do all this. But that also says a lot about being able to stay in a location for a long period of time, learn from those around you, because like how many times have you seen or I've seen or somebody has seen like a director who jumps from job to job to job to job to job and they never get any better at the profession.
For sure. And there are some directors I know that may be ready to be a head director in year 3 or year 5, or I didn't feel that way. I remember having a conversation with one of our lesson teachers, and he was like, "Hey, when's that going to be you in front of a top band?" And I told him this is probably around year 4 or so. It's like when I'm ready, it's like I just know right now that the top band wouldn't sound as good as it did if I was teaching it every day versus Joey teaching it every day. So I'm not done learning from him yet. So year 9 was when I took over as a head director, and I think that was a healthy place, at least for me in my career, to do that, because I won't say that like the teaching is on autopilot, because that's never really the case. But as you get more experienced, there's certain things you just don't really have to think about anymore. Like I can hear that articulation issue in my beginner tuba player and know what it is and how to fix it and what to tell them, and blah blah blah. And I can know like, hey, this is what I want to be able to play with my band in the spring. So we're going to start doing XYZ in September, and scaffold it backwards and that kind of stuff. That just becomes a lot more natural. just with experience, just takes time. And some people, learn that faster than others. But I think it took me. I was I wasn't ready before the opportunity came around. It was again providential timing and a good situation for me.
So, and you just touched on this is about mentors. Do you have any like? So you've mentioned several already. Is there any other mentors that have like really, really helped you out throughout the years?
A couple come to mind. Uh, one of my biggest inspirations as a younger musician in high school was my band director in high school. His name was Gary Hall. I still keep in touch with him. He's almost 80 years old and retired and stuff. And his love for music was infectious, for everything from concert band to jazz band to I took his music theory class. And I mean, I just hung on the guy's every word because he was just so genuine and so caring. And I've had a couple of these teachers throughout my career, the ones that you walk into rehearsal and you just don't want to disappoint them. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
And there's some that you go in, and it's like, well, I'm going to do my best because that's what's expected, or I'm going to do my best for whatever reason. There's some you just want to go in and you want them to be proud of you. You know what I mean? So he was one of the first teachers I had that I felt that way about. And then as far as like just teaching band goes, I've already mentioned Joey Qualls. I learned more from him just teaching next to him for 8 years than about band than I have from anybody else. But currently, David Brandon is our program mentor, and he's been on with us for the last couple of years, and he's been fantastic to work with because he's just brought a different background, different set of priorities, just different approach to band than what I'd lived in for the previous 10 years of teaching. So it's been good for me. Like last year, I told him this at the end of the year. Um, thanking him for all of his help and stuff. And he was like, "You came in and you kicked my ass in all the right places at all the right times." And it was little stuff. He would just like ask one question to get you thinking at the end of the visit, or something. I remember his first visit last fall in September. He said, "Hey, I've listened to your recordings from last spring." This would have been like the 23-24 school year. On my way over here, go back and listen to those again, and then just like let me know what you think. And he had been out all day, and he had been like just really harping on some articulation stuff. And I went back and listened to recordings I hadn't listened to in 4 months again, and completely, with his recent visit that day in my head, it was kind of like a new set of windows got open. I was just like, oh, all that crap is over there. Like we got to figure out how to fix that. It's just little things like that. He's not just going to straight up tell you how to teach band, but he's good at planting seeds and raising your level of awareness about things, just kind of pointing you in the right direction. He's been really good for us these last couple of years.
So, a program mentor, you just mentioned that. So, what are your expectations of like a program or mentor, or can you elaborate what a program mentor is?
Yeah, for us, I think I'm kind of looked at it again, being in a situation where the ship's already headed in the right direction. It's nothing's really broken. We're not looking to completely fix anything, but there's certain things that then when they just live under your nose every single day, you start to not notice them, or your ears just kind of you get that podium blindness to this thing, or so he's just kind of I'd say it's like our checks and balances a little bit. He comes in about 6 times throughout the year, about 3 times during the fall and 3 times during the spring. He'll check in with all the beginner classes at some point during the fall. And at this point in the year, he was out on Tuesday this week. I wasn't there. Um, but it's just with beginners, like he's just coming in and making sure there's no red flags. Like we haven't like just totally missed something setting up clarinet faces or brass embouchures or something like that. And then, just check in with where the bands are. If he's like, um, sees something just like fundamentally or developmentally that may be lagging behind, that you just make that an area of focus. And then our goal then is like, okay, well, he said that, this isn't, our concert B natural tuning sucks right now. So we're going to make sure like that better be locked in next time he comes out in 3 weeks, that kind of thing. So just a outside set of eyes and ears just to make sure that what we're doing is as right as we think it is when we're kind of stuck in the grind day to day.
Well, and I think that's something a lot of people forget they're able to do. And push comes to shove, like, yeah, everyone, for those types of services you do have to pay for them. And like, if that's something that is important for you and the health of your program, you're one, you can try and find the money somewhere, or two, you just have to reach out to the right people to get ears on what you're doing every now and then. Maybe not come out and like watch your program for the full day, but like, hey, can I send you a recording of like what we're doing, and can you give me some suggestions on how to like, a couple suggestions on things I need to focus on to, fundamentally to make this better.
Yeah, a name that comes to mind right off the bat. I remember seeing Sean Murphy post something on his Facebook last spring. He's like, "Hey, anybody that wants to, send me recordings, I'll do a pre-UIL style comment tape and send it back to you in the next couple days." Blah, blah. Those like band really is a community, and those people are out there that want to help. Sometimes it's just asking. Or, you can probably just call up any realtor, and by like the third try, you'll find an old band director.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. So with the program that you're in now and what you've taken over, like, what are some of the things that you've done to help like the culture, or help establish the culture that you want to see in the program, or grow from the things that have already have been established? Is there anything special that you've done?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything special. I don't have anything groundbreaking or rocket science. It's always been important to me that the kids want to be in the band hall. I want it to be a place that they want to be. Like to me, that's a sign of a healthy relationship. Like if their relationship with the band program is such that that's where they want to be before school, that's where they're trying to come during their flex time, advisory period, and that kind of things. Like I, that's one of the things that I love to see. Um, I try to keep. I won't say I'm not mean on the podium. I'm not a jerk, but I'm very firm. I'm very the um, kids know what to expect, and they know it's like these are the expectations, and if you're doing what's expected of everybody in the room, there's not going to be any issue. But I do hold a really high standard for them, and like I said, very firm when I'm on the podium when I'm teaching. Off the podium, I like to joke around with them and get to know them, and so that like they understand it's like there's a business time and there's a play time. It's the same thing in our adult life. There's times that, we can cut loose and have fun, and there's times where it's professional, it's business time. Let's get some work done. Um, this reminded me last week in sectionals. We were doing our weekly chair tests and sectionals, and I was like, one of the ways I kind of get to know the kids a little bit better. Last week we did our chair test alphabetically by their middle name. And I was just they're always trying to guess because every week I'll pick something different. They're like, maybe if I sit on the end, then I'll go last. And then they're like, no, hey, what's your middle name? All right, we're gonna go alphabetically by middle names today. And then it's something, I can be like Kinley Michelle, when they're like walking down the hallway or something later on, it just shows that like I just care to get to know them a little bit better, even if it's something simple like that. Like they feel a little bit more seen, a little bit more. It may be something that, most people at school don't know about them. So it's something that, is again, just a little bit more special. And well, the band people know that about me, but that's because that's our thing. Um, so those are a couple of the things. Like I said, I want the kids I, I want them to know what to expect. Then when they come in the room, we're going to work. We're going to get better while we're here, but I want them to want to be there too.
And I love middle school kids. I just don't know if I could do that all day, every day.
Why not?
I
I'm
don't
just
not
kidding.
yeah, well,
We were at the junior high pep rally today, and Slicky came up to me and she said, "How do you deal with these people all day?" And I thought that was hilarious.
Do you have to do junior high pep rallies?
So we got off for about the last 4 years. Again, it was one of the good things that came out of COVID, in my opinion, was that pep rallies went away. And then Again, new principal this year, and pep rallies are coming back. So we'll have our first one on the 29th this month.
Back.
Yeah, we had
Full force.
our first junior high one this week, today actually, and like they asked, well, can the junior high band play? No, no.
I ain't ready for that, y'all.
Yeah, like our fight song is in A flat major, cut time, all
know,
this kind
that's
of stuff,
like-
and it's just like we're not
Hold
there.
ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is not this range is
I ain't
not
ready
what.
for that, y'all.
Nope, not there
Well, for
yet.
us, so we always do a band camp the week before the teachers come back for in service. So it's right
Yeah.
about the end of, like, it's the 28th, I think, of July through the 1st or something. And especially with our second band kids, like the we prioritize, it's like that's where they learn the fight song, that's where they learn We Got the Beat, that's where they learn Land of a Thousand Dances.
Yeah.
And then we have those, 80-90% of the kids are at that camp and know it. And then we don't really spend a lot of rehearsal time on that once school starts. Probably a couple days before the pep rally, we'll pull that out and make sure that, it's fit for public consumption. But we're trying to prioritize at this point in the year. It's like 85% of a given rehearsal is just fundamentals, teaching the kids how to band together, especially with all the seventh grade kids that just haven't experienced that yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's for sure.
So, with the way you've done things and the trajectory of your career, what has like been your favorite thing to teach in middle school?
Ooh, for a lot of years, probably my first 8 years or so in a row, I'd say that the beginner French horn class was my favorite thing to teach.
Really?
Oh
Beginner
yeah, I
French
loved it.
horns.
Honestly, it
not
was
your
probably
favorite thing?
the brass instrument I taught the best, but also if they're placed correctly, that's a really fun class to teach. They tend to be really smart, they're responsive, they're rule followers, they're practicers, they're doers. Like, if you have good information, you shouldn't be able to screw up your beginner French horn class if they're placed correctly. And then I got like 2 or 3 classes in a row that were not placed correctly. So beginner French horn has not been my favorite for a little while.
So like my beginner tuba class this year is like
You have good beginner
super
tubas.
enjoyable. There's been a couple of years I've had beginner tuba players. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yes. And then this year it's been like, first of all, you're just pleasant kids. Thank you. Thank you for just being pleasant kids. And then like they receive criticism well, or they receive direction well. And I think that's like a huge thing, teaching people how to take criticism and how to process that information. I mean, it's just like how many, I can't even tell you how many times, like as a young educator, I used to get defensive when somebody would tell me something. And now I'm like, whatever, tell me I suck. I'm going to try and fix it.
That's
Yeah, my
goal
beginner tuba
constantly.
class was my favorite my favorite beginner class last year. And it was fun, like, for the reasons you said. Like, they were good kids, they were fun kids. Um, Sometimes with the tuba class, you just feel like you'd be better off spend just standing in the corner talking to the wall, but they're actually able to like receive and apply information. And it's like, okay, well, yeah.
Well, so Simon, you've moved into the head director position, and you've been there a while, for a few years now. Now, looking back, are there some things that or what's some knowledge you would like to like impart onto young listeners that are thinking about making the jump into the head director, and some of the like traps that they should be aware of?
Think, like I said, with not being ready until year 9, and I kind of mentioned it already, I think you've got to be really secure on everything on the teaching side of stuff, because the administrative side is going to take so much more of your time and attention than it did as the assistant director. Um, so there's still going to be changes. Like, I've had to grow a lot, going from teaching a really good second band to being in front of the top band every day. Like, there's still growth that has to happen. And if you ever stop getting better at this job, then go do something else. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm just on autopilot now. I'm still learning and changing things and tweaking things in all the classes I teach. But the just what I'm going to do or how I'm going to teach this concept, or like that takes a small amount of my planning and brain power at this point. which is good because I don't have the extra. I can't imagine if I was overwhelmed by the teaching and trying to keep the ship afloat.
Yeah. Oh. There are some days I'm just like I'm overwhelmed by the amount of paperwork. Today was one of those days.
You were very overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's because I had to like we're since we're in the midst of marching band season, we have several contests coming up, and I have to put out all the information and itineraries for every single one of those things, do the scripts, make sure I have compliance forms done, do all the requisitions for those things.
Just all the
Yeah, the transportation side of it, and then making sure that all of the other bills are getting paid for the whatever we need to do. Like we ordered new drum harnesses or some new drum harnesses, and I had to make sure that's getting paid because we ordered them back in July, but they showed up after September 1. So now we have to change all the paperwork.
But you made me do part of the paperwork because you were so frustrated that you just rage quit.
I did rage quit because that was the third time I tried to do that single piece of paperwork.
It took me over an hour to do it. So I feel you.
Simon, have you ever rage quit on some paperwork?
I haven't actually, no.
That okay. In his defense, it was very poorly laid out to where I kept having to answer. I was registering students for an event, and I had to input. It was like meant for the students to complete, but also for the director to complete. And so it asked like weird questions. But basically, I had to answer the same information probably 3 to 4 times. Like, what is your name? What instrument do you play? Like, what track are you? Like that kind of thing. And I was like,
It's
why
like
do
a
I have
job application.
kind of? And but I had to do it for 23 kids. And so I was like, why do I have to answer this question about trombones 23 times when so
It could have
anyway.
just been on a different page. Yeah, and like the reason I rage quit is because we use Google quite often, and the kids who had already answered the form submitted again, so it kept adjusting my numbers, and I had to like refile and reorder things, and so by the time I had caught it, I already had chosen the number of entries, and I had started entering in kids, and then I go, this kid entered in again. And so I'd have to go back to the entries and change the number for the entries. And when I would do that, it would wipe out everything.
And it was like 10 questions per kid times
Yeah.
23.
I got to the third time I tried doing that for him, and I just asked Alexa to do it because I was about to like throw my computer
And it
across
still
the
took
room.
me like an hour. And then after I got through, I was like, I'm done. I put in the credit card number. It was like registration incomplete, but it charged the credit card. And so I had to fill out the same questions again. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, poor formatting.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was fun.
it was not a good time for everyone involved. Nope. So Simon, what are some of the things that like you coming home to another band director, like what do y'all sometimes get involved in the band talk whenever you come home?
Occasionally, we do talk some band. Typically, if we're going to talk band, it's when we're both driving home. Like she's on her way home from school, I'll pick up Silas and then get in the car, and I've got about 20 minutes, depending on traffic, 25 to get home. And that's typically when we talk band. And then usually when we get home, then it's, you know, dinner and bath time and all of that stuff. And then it's kind of nice to take a break from some of that talk. Um, it's been a little bit, won't say touchy, but Stephanie didn't luck out to quite the same degree that I did with her career path. She's done some fantastic work in several different programs now at this point, but didn't just have like this golden opportunity land in her lap for her first gig and then just, get promoted up to the head director for her second gig, and be in one place and everything. So there's times where, I feel a little bit guilty bringing some stuff up or talking about certain things because I know it's like what's difficult for me, is you've got a whole different set of problems, and I think that's true. You could look all across the state. Everyone's in a different situation and has their different hill to climb and stuff. So certain things have been, kind of, I won't say challenging, like I said, a little bit. They're just things that I don't bring up necessarily. But we can't live as much band as we do and not talk about it. So most of what we talk about is, we'll talk about our days and stuff, and you know, hey, I'm looking for a piece for the fall concert. Do you have anything? That kind of stuff.
I mean, you have a flute that's behind you that is also a lamp.
That's a clarinet, actually.
Is that a clarinet? Is that a metal
Yeah,
clarinet?
it's a metal clarinet.
Ah,
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, it's so ingrained in your life. And like with Stephanie, your wonderful wife, she also comes from a very musical family on top of that because her sister is also a professional flautist, and then her brother-in-law, your brother-in-law is was a saxophone performance major and now is a dentist. So like Simon, and we've touched a bit on this already with you being a dad and then being a dad again just recently. You just upped the ante. What are some of the changes that you saw like in your job whenever you and Stephanie became parents?
A couple of them. Like I mentioned, just having to get work done during that certain time frame of the day, because it couldn't just be like, hey, I just need to stay another hour and finish this up. That just isn't an option for me anymore. Um, and the biggest thing, honestly, that changed was taking sick days, because I never did that. I just didn't get very sick. If I just, was feeling a little sniffly, whatever, you just like suck it up and go to work. But I don't know, in my first 9 years of teaching, I might have taken one sick day, if that. It just wasn't taking them. And now I'm taking them all the time, especially, little one in daycare. It seemed with Silas like every couple weeks, he had a fever and had to be home. And the joys of maternity leave as a public school educator. There isn't any. Stephanie was pretty much out of personal days by the time, Silas came around. And she's managed to stock a few more up, but this time for maternity leave with Asher, but she's still going to end up taking a couple weeks unpaid leave. So that means when one of them gets sick, it makes the most sense for me to be the one that stays home with them, unless there's just something at school I can't miss. So that was the biggest adjustment to me, because it was just, well, we're just always at school. You don't miss school. What are personal days? Why would you? But my coworkers have been great about it. And they're understanding, and they're doing, me a solid this week, stepping in and covering while I'm out. So that was a big change.
Yeah, and well, and like I can tell you, like with my staff, I have two younger, well, yeah, I'm gonna say younger. Johanna, you're younger. Staff members who are not married, and so therefore, their time commitment just looks a little bit different than mine. And then I have a new staff member who is married, and his wife is in law school, and she's like on the grind. And like I always feel bad because like it's like 5 o'clock or 5:15, and I'm like, hey guys, I gotta dip. And if I don't leave at an appropriate time or an early enough time, then I don't get to see my 10-month-old son at all, and I won't see him for days on end. And that's not like anything that's wrong. It's just like I always feel a little sense of guilt based off of that, because I know that my staff is working hard, and I am trying to make sure I don't sacrifice my family in order to like stay at the job and like not feel that guilt. I fail at that a whole lot, like being able to see my son, just because like the way our time frame works and
He also
daycare.
just goes to bed in an ungodly early
Yeah. What
time,
time is he going to bed? Like five.
before 6.
Yeah,
He can't make
5:30.
it. He just like by the time he gets home from daycare, he is like, I give him a bottle and he's out. And he's out. He sleeps all night. Now, I will say, I think it's because he really only takes one good nap during the day. That's about his, and really he should take two, but he only takes one. And so he just goes to bed at really early time. And eventually he'll not do that anymore, like the older ones. But for now, that's what he
Yeah,
does.
he falls asleep at 5:30 p.m.
He can't hang, and he gets so grown. He's just hungry and tired, and that's That's what it is.
So yeah, I think that, like, I mean, do you ever deal with that type of situation where you kind of like feel bad, but at the same time you kind of go like, you know what, that my family, I mean, you do that, like, my family comes first.
For sure. And I definitely have felt guilt about it. And I think that's become less over the last few years. I have a really good relationship with my coworkers. I know they understand. One of them, Mike Robinson, he has one kid who's older now. She's like about to graduate college. And then my other coworker, Emily, is actually due with her first in November, right around Thanksgiving. So it's like, yeah, I feel bad asking for them to cover all this stuff this week. And I was like, well, my time's coming because the script's going to be flipped in a couple months. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any of the daycare sicknesses yourself?
yes, I've been sick more in the last 3.5 years than the previous 20.
Um, I don't.
Jose got hand, foot, and
Yeah,
mouth.
I got hand, foot, and mouth.
You're not supposed to put those in your mouth, dude.
I know, man.
Yeah, I woke up and I wasn't feeling good, and like I started getting all these little red
This was like
welts.
what, like 4
Yeah,
years ago or so?
little red welts on my hands, and I was like, "What is going on?" And then I started getting like them in my mouth, and it just so happens that I got hand, foot, and mouth. I was like, "Isn't this an infant thing? Like, I am not an infant."
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on the day. Depends if the marching band is not going well, then I throw a tantrum. That's been known to happen.
Yeah, I know. I've been there. Maybe when you quit acting like a baby, you won't get the.
Well, yeah. Well, I tell the kids, you touched on this earlier, Simon, that like when you're on the podium and you're doing the thing, like it's business. And I've told our kids this. I go, you know, you train the adults on how you want to be, like how you are treated. Like you are training the adults how to treat you. And if you act poorly, you're going to be treated poorly. Like that's the way that works. So like, let's just not do that.
no, I got myself into trouble with that last spring because I was trying to make a similar point with, I had a beginner student that was a challenge. She could have been fine, but she was the youngest in her household, and from what everything I could tell, everything was her way all the time. And my band class wasn't going to run that way in the beginner class she was in. And just, she was just in a constant attention suck, just needed to just raise your hand for this, just like, look at me, blah, just constant. Um, and at one point, I pulled her into the office and asked her, because I finally like I would acknowledge her the first 2 or 3 times she'd raise her hand, and then she kept raising it, bouncing in her seat, whatever, and I just wouldn't even look at her again. Um, and she was really upset one day after that, and I pulled her into the office to talk to her and said, "Do you know the story of the boy who cried wolf?" And she said no, and so I like just read her the children's tale about it, and basically said it's about conditioned response, exactly what you said. You're teaching me how to respond to you, and when you're raising your hand 35 times in a 50-minute class and only 3 of those are on topic or relevant, I'm not going to be able to call on you. It's not fair to the other kids. And then I had a big old parent conference about it, and I apparently bringing up the boy who called Wolf was calling her daughter a liar, and I don't know, it blew up in my face. But she elected to pursue other passions this year.
And that's okay. That is okay.
It's not for everyone.
That's not. It's not. We say this a whole lot. Like band's not easy. Like we're really good friends with Zach Santos, and he said this during a session that staying still is a skill, and like that is so true because like I'm getting like we're teaching beginners right now and doing the thing, and I say that I'm like, staying still is a skill. If you do not stay still, you cannot set your embouchure and your aperture correctly for success, and you are no longer going to be successful because you don't know how to stay still.
Wiggly bodies make wiggly sounds.
Yep. I go like, guys, it's like driving down a dirt road. Like that. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, you said that, that was kind of the situation that blew up in your face. Do you have like a mistake that you've made that's made you like a better educator?
I was thinking about this when you sent over some questions. Thankfully, I don't have like a huge mistake to look back on, which is probably also why I still have a job. But I think I learned the most from the little mistakes I've made, mostly teaching mistakes. One that comes through my head around this time of year every year was my second year teaching. My first year of beginner classes, I only taught trumpet and horn, but both of them went really well. Kids turned out great. I was feeling pretty confident. And the next year, it was like, well, want to make sure they're not getting bored. Like, I want to get them like at least do like hot cross buns a little bit sooner. Like, just so set them all up the same way. But I got moving too fast too soon. And everything fell apart. The foundation wasn't really solid enough when we started adding on top of it, like some of those just absolutely key to get right at the beginning fundamentals were not shored up enough to be solid. And faces started falling apart and weird stuff started happening. And it was just like a, and we had to back up a week and shore everything back up. And but it was a big learning experience because wasn't a mistake that I've ever made again. um, just it only pays off, to go slow at the beginning and even feeling good about it, like, oh well, I bet they could handle it. Well, maybe they could, but if they can't yet, it's better to err on the side of caution. So that's one that comes to my mind around this time every year. But it's just those little things. Like I said, if you're not learning and getting better, then why are you doing this? So I think every year I'm just like, oh, I tried explaining that way that year. I'm gonna teach this concept differently with this class, and so
What's some advice you would give to band directors or young band directors?
find someone that's doing it well and go watch them. If you don't have that person already in your program, like I said, like I was able to just watch my coworker teach for years and see really high quality teaching every day to copy and imitate and learn from. If you don't have that already in your program, if you're by yourself or maybe the coworkers you have around you maybe aren't um, really strong teachers in their own right, then go find that person that their program is reputable and they're doing the things that you want to be able to do, and go watch them teach for a day and pick their brain at lunch. I've done that a few different times. Gone out and spent the day with different programs, and I've never had anybody where I've reached out and said, "Hey, can I just come and hang out in your band?" And nobody's ever said no. Don't want you here. They're always like, sure, come on out. And, we always have a good hang, like I said, at lunch and just talk. And there are always people out there that know more than you. And if you're a young teacher, you have to, seek those people out because they're not going to come just hunting you down.
I mean, that is so true. There are so many mistakes that I made as a young educator. Um, and I think one of the biggest ones that we all kind of have is having that ego slash pride thing, and just like not willing to really realize that, hey, I'm not that good at this.
Or your definition of good is not good.
Yeah. Like, okay, having an idea of what being excellent or being fantastic or being like a craftsman of an artist of what you do, and then going like, this is good enough. Like, no, it's not. Like, it's about the kids and giving them the correct experience and giving them the passion of what we do. Even I mean, if they become band directors, great. If they don't, great. But giving them something to look back on and cherish throughout their years, whether or not they for you, whether or not they continue after middle school into high school, or if like this is their end of their journey of their band career, they can look back and like, I really enjoyed band at least in junior high, because like high school band is a different animal.
Yeah, for sure. And in Alito, where I teach too, we have very involved kids, and athletics is king. So we're constantly fighting that battle. Even in seventh grade already, after beginner band, well, he's going to play football, so he's not going to play band. Well, no, he can do both. It's just talk to us. Let's work it out. we have successful kids that will do the athletics thing all the way through the high school program. They'll be, on the varsity football team and then marching in the halftime show, but um, for the parents and community that don't always understand it, it's just a constant education process trying to advocate for your program and for the kids, ability to do more than, you don't have to put all your eggs in the football basket right now. Do
Yeah.
some other stuff.
It's all like your child is 4'2". It's okay. They can play trumpet for a couple
Yeah.
more years, because they might not hit that growth spurt that you're expecting. How tall is dad? 5'4". Okay, cool. Maybe the trumpet is the best option.
Yeah.
He's gonna be playing safety.
Yeah. He's gonna be an all-star offensive lineman. How much does he weigh? $125. I
Well,
don't think so.
Alito has
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
several championships to their name.
Was Alito the one that got sued
Recently?
By who for what?
for about their football team? Their football coach got, I think, a lawsuit because they beat a school so bad.
Oh yeah, that was quite a few 15 years ago or so now. Yeah, because they beat this team like 93-0 or something like that. And the coach was literally like, it's like, I had like fourth string in. What do you want me to do? Tell those kids not to play? That was like their only chance to actually play. It's not my fault they still beat you.
Yeah, I remember reading that story and go like, somebody's suing the coach for beating them.
I don't know.
What are we doing?
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard
Yeah,
that
you can look
story.
it up. It was they somebody tried to sue the coach because they
It was just
were.
upset parents. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always an
Winning
upset
too
parent.
hard, I guess.
There's always an upset parent somewhere.
Somewhere,
Hey,
somehow.
Well, I'm thinking, I want to flashback real quick to what we were talking about just a minute ago with the young band directors, and then you saying like good enough is good enough, that kind of thing. Because one of the things I've learned, even if going out and watching really good bands and really good programs and stuff, there's stuff that you just aren't going to be able to hear yet as a young teacher. You can go watch a really great teacher in front of a good band, and they might be giving them feedback about something. Your ears are just not developed or ready enough to even recognize what's happening right there. And that's okay. It took me, probably 3 years, I think, of being in front of a band every day to really understand and be able to articulate what I wanted the group in front of me to sound like. So I think you got to start as a young director, but I don't think that learning process ever ends. Like I said, and now at this point in my career, it's like the Mr. Brandon's coming in and, you know, tuning my ear to a different frequency, so to speak, pointing my attention in a different direction, that I get those like those growth moments with just with my ears and what I can hear and what I recognize. But that process should never stop. You just got to start it while you're young.
Well, and I think some of those things have allowed you to continue being successful. Because what are some of the accolades that your band program has collected over the past few years?
Since I've been there, like the last 12 years, or since I took over?
Yes. Let's just go with a yes answer.
We'll flash it back. Okay, so my first year on staff, we were eighth in honor band. The path to honor band was a lot more cutthroat back then because you only have two advanced from area. But that was 2015, I think. 20 next rotation, 2019, I guess that was. We were second in honor band. In spring of 2020, we got invited to perform at Midwest. And in December of 2021, we finally got to actually go and do that because the 2020 convention was canceled. Then I took over in 22. And most recently, this last summer, placed third in Triple C Honor Band as very small fish in a big pond. Because one of the things that, after our middle school split, we just moved after the second middle school opened. We were both double C, and my campus moved back up to triple C last year by like 8 kids. So we had a total of 97 kids in our 7th and 8th grade bands. So we had 2 bands, and then we had a little over 100 beginners. Um, and Triple C, there are programs where they have 200 plus beginners every year and 4 performing bands and stuff. So I didn't go into the year expecting to get the result that we did, but I was really really proud of how the kids pulled through.
Yeah, well, I've always known you were a fantastic, educator and a fantastic musician. Partially because you came out and clinicked one of Region 8's groups, and everyone said wonderful things about you. But your trumpet studio was also pretty stacked and pushed each other a lot. And you had a trumpet studio member that you went to school with who actually did very well in that process. Mr. Ed O'Day.
Shout out.
Oh, I love Ed. I love it. He's such a good guy.
He was more of a jazzer than I was. That's what he really liked to do. He wanted to take all the solos, and I just wanted to play the high notes.
So you guys are the perfect pair.
It was, yeah.
He was so chill. He was like probably the most chill
I think
guy
I've
I've
only
ever
met Ed like maybe one time. It was a
He's like,
TMA.
yeah, man. It is what it is, man. So, do you have a favorite memory as a band director?
I have a lot of good ones. One that will stick out, was conducting on stage at Midwest. There's nothing quite like that whole experience. Um, it was my first time at Midwest as well. I enjoyed it a lot more a couple years later when we went back and just went to the clinic as far as the clinic goes. But um, I hope to have the opportunity to do it again someday. It was pretty special.
So you do a lot of things band wise, and you push middle school kids to be the best versions of themselves. So what do you do to unwind and just relax and not do band?
So I had more hobbies or more time for hobbies before kids, obviously. Uh, uh, I used to play a lot of disc golf, and I still get out occasionally. I'm looking forward to when the boys are a little older and they can actually do that with me. But I still do that. And lately, actually, I've been getting into Legos.
Oh,
Yeah. It was I've been thinking about it for a while. Like, hey, I haven't played with or built any Lego sets since I was like 10 years old. I wonder if I would enjoy that. And then I don't remember what it was, one of those babysitting days at the end of the year where we'd already had to turn in inventory and we couldn't rehearse or do anything, but kids were there and I had to run a couple errands. And so I'm at Walmart and like just picked up a Lego set, brought it back to school. And while I'm sitting there babysitting kids, start putting it together. I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. And now I have a problem.
That's an expensive problem too.
Yes, but it's led to I'm way late to jump on this train, but the way cheaper alternatives on Temu. So that's what I'm currently building.
Oh.
I've never thought about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Makes
let me
sense.
see if I can reach it here. This is what I'm currently building.
oh, like a battleship, like
If
an
it-
old school, like
yeah,
what
galleon
gonna
or
s-
something.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say a pirate ship.
pirate ship. I mean, it is a pirate ship is a battleship,
Yeah, sure.
but it's not like the current battleships that like are made out of steel, like the old wooden ones. American traditional.
I'm trying to like process all of the things that you just said.
What?
Battleships, wooden, American traditional. Just trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we there? All right, good. So what's something that you wish you could bring back? Just like nostalgia.
I had a good answer for this the other day when I read your question. You know what? Thinking about this, I don't know that I would want to bring it back, but I miss the naivety of being young. Just in like what the amount of like time and effort and energy life obligations are going to take by the time you're mid 30s. It's like, oh, we felt busy and all this responsibility and stuff when we were in college, and like go back and it's like, I didn't have jack to worry about. I just had to make sure I fed myself and showered and practiced, and that was about it.
Well, it's funny that you say that because did you see Bruce Faske's post recently?
Yeah, did you see that I posted the pictures from
Yeah,
the
I
haircut?
sure did. So for those so we have a really good friend named by the name of Bruce Fasky, and we have another really great friend and musician named Kevin Butler. And Kevin and one of our other great music educators, Brittany Hunter.
So it was some sort of a silent auction that I want to say
Oh, I
MuFi
remember.
did.
Yes, I remember that.
And if whatever happened, I don't remember those specifics. It was Michael Nelson that was going to get to shave Kevin Butler's head. I'm pretty sure. And then Bruce got to help. So it happened in their apartment, good old Baylor Plaza 2. And those were the pictures that I posted of that because whatever happened, Kevin Butler lost. So
I remember that there was a silent auction. The other thing that I remember was we did like that bring your own meat party. Do you remember that?
yeah, I think so. There were a few of those. Some of them were at the Rudd's house.
Yeah, it was just like some of the things that we did in undergrad. I kind of go like, huh, I'm glad social media wasn't around as much as it is now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I remember a BYOM party at Professor Rudd's house where I went to HEB to find something to throw on the grill and found shark steak. So I was like, oh, I'm going to try that. Brought it and no one believed me what it was until I showed them the package.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like, well, what did you bring? Shark. Like,
Shark.
Excuse me.
I don't think I've ever seen shark out and about.
I know. What store did you go to?
He said HEB.
HEB.
You just said it.
HEB. Kind
Keep
shark.
up. Come on.
Oh my goodness gracious. So if it wasn't band, what would have it been?
Looking back on it, I mean, I don't think it was ever going to be something other than band, but it would probably be something boring with numbers. I hated everything in school. Well, I hate's a strong word. I loved math until it started including things that weren't numbers. Once I started throwing letters and crap in there, it wasn't my thing anymore. But I was still good at it. I just didn't enjoy it anymore. So I would guess if I hadn't gone down the band route that I would be like a CPA or something like that. Something real boring.
There's nothing wrong with that. I say that all the time. I would have been an accountant.
Would you though? I don't think you would have been an accountant.
Really? What do you think I would have been?
Like not something an accountant. Maybe something business adjacent, but not maybe accountant.
Am I too social?
No, yeah, I think so. Cause like you're good at like the financial side of the thing, but I don't think that you could do that like all day long.
Yeah, probably. I would probably go like a little nuts.
Like something that involves that, yes, but not full time.
Yeah. Sam, do you have a guilty pleasure TV show?
Not necessarily a TV show, but I watch disc golf on YouTube pretty much every single day.
I just never got into the disc golf thing. I think I would enjoy it. It's just not something that like I've been invited to go do. I would go do it. I don't know how good I would be.
I would probably be terrible at it. I've never done it either.
No, there's a whole pro tour. I pay for the subscription to watch all the live, like big pro tour events live, and there's a lot of content on YouTube that I spend more time watching that than probably anything else because I don't get to watch a whole lot of TV when we're in the grind, unless it's like Silas's Spidey and His Amazing Friends once a day or something like that.
Yeah,
It's a good show.
Yeah. Miss Rachel or Bluey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is disc golf seasonal, or is it just like the pro tour is always on the grind? Or
So the pro tour season is typically from like either late February or early March up until mid-October. And that's where the people that are actually like making a living playing it as a professional sport, that's kind of their season. But
that's cool.
you can play it all year round, especially in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Make a living from disc golf.
Hey, people do it. I'm sure.
Hey man, if I could do that, make a living from something like that, you better believe.
The best players in the world are making upwards of $1 million a year playing disc golf.
I believe that.
Oh my goodness. You ever look at your banking account and go like, I made a horrible mistake.
I had a discussion with a high schooler today. In second period, she was like, this day is too long. And then I saw her in eighth period and I was like, are you okay? She's like, this day is too long. And I said, look, I hate to tell you this, but life is just a string of long days all put together. She's like, don't say that. And I was like, you just need to marry a billionaire and you get to buy a yacht and you can like park it off of Greece. And there you go. At least your long day is spent on a super yacht somewhere.
Yeah. She's a sophomore too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Days too long.
Yeah.
She's funny. She says some of the funniest things. I'm not going to say.
Her day was too long.
Yeah, too long after first period.
Yeah, she had lived a life.
Yeah. So, Simon, we got some quick fire questions for you. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And, just shoot them out as soon as you can. Okay. All right. So you got to pick one. Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, or Ariana Grande?
Taylor Swift.
Favorite rom-com?
The Notebook.
Is pineapple acceptable on pizza?
Yes.
Is a taco a sandwich?
Is a hot dog?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't believe a hot dog's a hot dog. That's just me. Like, leave it alone.
The taco's not a sandwich, but a quesadilla is.
Okay.
A hot dog is meat between bread, but a taco is not meat necessarily between. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very philosophical. Toilet paper, over or under?
Oh, over.
Okay, good. We can continue being friends. Which Twix do you prefer, the left or the right?
Both.
Do you eat both at the same time? Are you one of those
No.
people?
We gotta have some manners, some civility around here.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
The Kit Kat.
Yeah. So my newest coworker, I've been giving him grief because he's been eating string cheese in the office with his lunch, but he just bites the string cheese straight in half.
No.
I do that too.
I'm like, what are we? No, you got it. It's string cheese for a
But
reason.
I told you I started doing that after we had kids because I don't want to have to sit there and peel.
Well, it's because it becomes a little bit different.
With
That's a little
kids, I take bigger peels. I used to just like literally string it along. No, that's not that anymore, but you still got to split that thing into 6 or 8.
Yeah.
When they were like still a little bit younger, I would just split it in half so that it wasn't round anymore. But I'm not stringing that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I am.
It's like I don't want my fingers all over it. That's only happened to me, I think, in like the past few years. But I don't want to like perpetually just like touch the cheese and pull the strings off.
What's your ick right now? It's stringing cheese.
I know that's very personal preference, but
is a black belt with brown shoes acceptable?
No.
Sousa, King, or Fillmore?
Ooh, depends. I'm a sucker for a King March.
I like King.
I do too.
Do you have a favorite Randall Stanridge piece?
Actually, yes. One of the pieces we played at Midwest in 2021 was called Sultana 1865. If you haven't heard it before, you should check it out. It's really cool.
Okay, we're gonna go switch a little bit marching band style here, just because like this is a fun thing. Do you have a favorite stand tune?
Hey baby.
Finally.
Hey baby gets a lot of hate on the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's just like I said, lead trumpets. Like it's really good to take up.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a fair.
Yeah. Worst stand tune.
The Stripper.
Excuse me.
The stripper.
No, I mean I can actually pick a worse stand tune. I don't know.
Is there a stand tune called The Stripper?
Isn't there?
There's a song called The Stripper. So I assume that's the
I'd really have a hard time calling up a stand tune at a football game. Go, all right, kids, take out The Stripper.
What's the hand signal?
Go.
Okay, all right.
That's fair.
Okay, do you have a favorite store?
Amazon.
If you had a walk up, what's your walk up song?
Oh, it would be Brooklyn by Youngblood.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I just like felt your souls connect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Jose's alarm for the longest time, and it used to scare the crap out of me every single morning.
So good. What a good way to start the day.
Yeah. It would be jarring.
It would literally startle me.
I'm so startled.
I'm still recovering.
No, I put a new stereo in my truck last week, and that's what I played to test the sound system out.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's good.
That with.
If you had a spy code name, what would it be?
Jolly Green Giant.
How tall are you, Simon? Don't you dare say 6'7".
No.
6'7".
I'll tell you what I tell the kids. I'm about 196.5 centimeters.
Don't make me do that.
What's a movie you enjoy quoting the most?
I don't really quote movies. I have good memory for some things. Like specific words, like people's names or movie quotes. My brain doesn't remember those.
Huh. Do you have a hidden talent?
Growing up as a homeschool kid, I have several. Whether it's juggling or riding a unicycle or random stuff like that.
Simon, you could have gone on the road playing trumpet, riding a unicycle, and juggling.
Juggling trumpets.
Yeah.
I mean, like the playing trumpet on the unicycle videos on YouTube, you can find that one.
Have you ever done that for your middle school kids? Can you still ride your unicycle?
Yeah, I have a different one now than I did when I was in college. I still have one. I ride around with Silas on his bike, but I haven't tried to play trumpet on it in 17, 18 years. You won't catch me doing that anytime soon.
That would scare me.
Oh man.
Like as a mom, like if I was watching my kid like with a trumpet on a unicycle, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
I think your middle school kids would love that.
Yeah, they totally would.
They find the video every year. If you look it up, most of the comments are from kids at my school when they found the video.
That's awesome.
Okay, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
The egg.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
What's a bad habit you wish you could break?
Probably shouldn't drink as much coffee as I do.
Yeah,
Is that really a bad thing?
I felt that.
Oh, well, I have like my one strain of coffee in the morning, then I'm kind of done.
See, I will often do that, but on the days where I really need it, then I'll have a second or a third cup. And then I realize when I like get to my beginner class and I'm like about to model something that I'm vibrating, I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna go well.
What's one word you want people to associate with you?
That I want to or that they just always do?
Yeah, well, sure, dealer's choice.
Tall.
I was gonna say 6'7".
Oh my goodness, I hate that. Is that in like infiltrated
It's
your
everywhere,
your
Jose.
yeah, oh my
It's
God.
everywhere. It's everywhere.
I can't.
And I'm not 6'7". I'm 6'5" if you did the
I
math.
know. I calculated it.
If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Without having thought about this a whole lot, my wife, Silas, and Asher.
Solid. Good company. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Never seen it.
You've never seen
Oh
Die
my
Hard.
goodness.
I know of it. I've just never actually watched it.
With
Maybe this Christmas you'll be able to watch it.
with all the movies, all the bad movies, and everything that we watched at Baylor Plaza, I'm surprised you didn't watch Die Hard.
Die Hard's not a bad movie.
Well, it's not a bad movie, but we watched a lot of movies.
I don't know. I've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine enough times to feel like I know most of it.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
there you go.
Wait, is Baylor Plaza still around?
No, it's bulldozed.
That's what
Yeah,
I thought.
it's sad.
An
There
institution.
were so many good activities that happened there. Good memories. Okay, if you could have any one animal, real or fictional, as a pet, what would it be?
What's small and takes very little maintenance? I'm not a big animal person, actually.
Really?
Yeah. The cats
I'm
are
not
pretty
either.
good for us. They don't take a lot of time.
Yeah, cats are pretty
I was
good.
the first animal that came to mind was a chinchilla. I don't
Chinchilla?
know. That seems high maintenance. I don't know.
Who did we know that had a
I
chinchilla?
don't know. Good question.
Oh, Jennifer Voigt.
She had a chinchilla?
Yeah,
Like Tyson and Jennifer?
yeah.
Oh.
She had a chinchilla. Because I remember going over to their place and going like, "You have a chinchilla?" She goes, "Yes, it's very soft."
Well.
Did you know Tyson had a chinchilla?
I did not.
Yeah.
Wow, this is something.
Yeah, that just.
I feel like if we had a small animal like that, Waffles would eat it.
Yeah, I think you're right. If anyone played you in a movie, who would it be?
John Krasinski.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. That's very good. If you could create any holiday, what would you celebrate?
There probably have to be like a National Band Directors Day or week. How about like middle of October?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the marching band directors just want to.
You
Just,
can still have rehearsal. That's
yeah.
the gift, is that you just get to have rehearsal all day.
just rehearsal, nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one final question for you. Okay,
All right.
that's probably a couple. Was there a Dairy Queen in your hometown?
Yes, there was.
Ooh, what's your Dairy Queen order?
I haven't been to a Dairy Queen in 15 or 20 years, I bet. I did like the hard shell ice cream cones.
Oh, a dip
yeah.
cone? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember the Dairy Queen in my small town in Minnesota because my sister worked there, and she worked there for like less than 2 weeks, and then the place burned down.
What is up with Dairy Queens and burning
I don't know.
down?
I've heard several people say that, the town Dairy Queen burned down.
Like, I don't know. I have no
happens.
clue.
Brian Hekimovich, he was one of the ones that
Yeah,
said that
he sure did.
his Dairy Queen burned.
Dairy Queen, the Texas stop signs just keep on burning down.
Light them ablaze.
So I think, Alexa, I think that's all I got.
I don't have anything else.
You have anything else? Simon, do you have anything else?
No, just thanks for having me on.
We appreciate you, Simon. Once again, congratulations on your beautiful family. It's definitely a gift, and we know you and your beautiful wife are just gonna, slam dunk as parents and as educators, and so, hopefully the nights are easy for you going forward.
Yes.
Thanks. Good to talk to y'all. Hope you and yours are well.
Well, thanks for listening to Band Yap. We'll see you next time. Bye.
We out.